One of the greatest challenges we face is trying to truly understand a complex system. And it gets even harder when that system is a human being, especially when it's our own child. Today, we're going to explore a new way of seeing, a new way of understanding. And that brings us to the central question, doesn't it? When our kids operate a little differently, the world is pretty quick to give them a label. You know the ones: ADHD, on the spectrum, difficult. But think about it. Does that label actually help them navigate their world? Or does it just define their place in it, often as a problem that needs to be solved? Let's look at it like this. Our current systems, whether it's in medicine or in our schools, are really good at categorizing things. A diagnosis puts things neatly in a box. It gives us a name for a pattern we're seeing. And look, that can be a useful starting point. But so often, it ends up becoming a limit. It becomes a definition of what's wrong, instead of a guide for what's actually possible. A map, on the other hand, is something else entirely. A map doesn't just tell you where you are. It shows you the terrain. It shows you the different paths you can take, the obstacles you might face, and all the possible destinations. A map is a tool for navigation. It empowers you to act. And that distinction, right there, is absolutely crucial. All of this points to what we see as the core issue, a fundamental failure of understanding. It's a failure where some of our highest potential minds are being systematically misread. And this failure shows up in ways that I think a lot of parents will recognize immediately. It all starts when a child is labeled, but not truly understood. And that diagnosis, it can become their identity long before they've had a chance to figure out who they are for themselves. Then you have our schools, which, with the best of intentions, often end up rewarding compliance more than the messy, beautiful process of real thinking. The result? These incredible, high-energy, fast-processing minds get suppressed, and parents are left stuck, just trying to manage behavior day to day, instead of doing what they really want to do: build the next generation of leaders. So to solve this, we don't need a better label. We need a completely different way of looking at it. We need a fundamental reframe. We have to start looking at the whole system, not just the individual symptoms. And this is the shift. It's so important. The old story tells us that a diagnosis is an identity. Your child has ADHD. It's presented as a fixed fact about them. The new way we're proposing is far more powerful: architecture as identity. What does that mean? It means we start from a different question entirely. We start with, okay, your child processes the world in a unique way. Let's map out the architecture of their mind, understand how it works, and then build from there. And this new way of seeing, this new framework, is what we call Lumindra. So what is Lumindra? At its core, it's a conscious systems framework. It's designed to connect that deep, conscious awareness with real lived intelligence. Think of it as an operating model that brings together three key areas. First, understanding the human architecture. That's conscious systems. Second, applying that understanding using powerful tools like AI. And third, grounding it all in the real world, like with structured investment intelligence. It's a framework built for leaders, whether you're leading a family at home or a company in the boardroom. Today, we are revealing the flagship service from that conscious systems pillar. It's a tool designed to deliver that human clarity, that deep understanding in one single powerful session. We call it the Captain's Map. Let's just go back to that core problem for a moment. The system, the doctors, the schools, society. It hands you a category, a label. But what you and your child actually need is a map, a guide to their inner world, a tool to help them navigate their unique strengths and their unique challenges. So, that's the big idea. But how do we actually turn that idea into something real and practical? How does the Captain's Map really work? Well, this isn't some long, drawn-out process. It's a structured one-session deep dive with you, the parent. And out of that one session come three concrete, tangible tools. First, you get the operating map, a clear visual diagram of how your child's mind is wired. Second, you get a system profile, which reframes their diagnosed traits not as deficits, but as features and assets of their system. And third, you get a parental leadership script, a practical how-to guide for communicating with them based on their specific wiring. Now, just to be perfectly clear, it's really important to say what this is not. This is not therapy. It's not a psychological assessment. It is not a behavior modification program. And it is absolutely not just another label to stick on your child. What it is a practical one-hour session with you that delivers a profound reframe and gives you tools that are visual, practical, and immediately usable. Let's make this really concrete with a quick case insight. We worked with a 13-year-old boy, let's call him Blaze. He's a natural leader, captain of his sports team, but he was really struggling in school. The problem was, he was being managed as a collection of diagnoses, ADHD on the spectrum, dyslexic, instead of being understood as one coherent system. And here's the reframe. Blaze doesn't have a broken brain. What he has is a high-performance nervous system operating in a low-tolerance environment. Think about it. School rewards sitting still, but his system is built for action. The problem wasn't him. It was the mismatch between his system and his environment. And understanding that, well, that changes everything. This kind of understanding points us toward the ultimate goal here. This isn't about short-term fixes. It's about building a solid foundation for a lifetime of self-leadership. Because the goal of this work, it's not to create a more compliant child. The goal is to build a more capable human being, someone who truly understands their own operating system and knows how to use it to their greatest advantage in the world. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. What happens when we, as parents, as a society, decide to make this fundamental shift? What happens when we stop trying to manage children like they're problems to be fixed, and instead we start doing the real work of understanding them as systems to be nurtured? That, I think, is the work that truly matters.